Hi everyone and welcome to our new topic in special topics in financial management, which is mergers, acquisition, and restructuring. In this lesson, we will focus into mergers, acquisition, and restructuring, which are vital strategies for reshaping corporations, enhancing value, and adapting to changing market dynamics. So, when you say the word mergers and acquisition, it involves intricate financial processes, while restructuring strategies addresses challenges and opportunities faced by companies. So we all know, no, that when we have mergers and acquisition, there is two companies involved, okay? Wherein, yun nga, no, nagkakaroon ng intrication of their financial processes and yun nga, nagkakaroon ng consolidation, okay? While restructuring, ito naman yung mga ginagawa ng companies to solve some challenges, no? Specifically on financial side para masurvive nila yung company nila. So first, let's talk about the mergers and acquisition process, valuation, deal structure, and due diligence. So mergers and acquisition are strategic initiatives that involve combining or acquiring companies for a variety of reasons such as expansion, synergy, and diversification. So for example, no, let's say Pure Gold, no, they do expansion on acquiring mga supermarket, no, current supermarket nang sa ganun, hindi na sila magtatayo ng bagong facility, no, meron na nakatayo. So ang gagawin na lang nila is they were just going to, refurbish or renovate the store. Also, we have this what we call a comparable company analysis, wherein this method involves comparing the financial metrics of the target company with similar publicly traded companies to derive a valuation estimate. So, yung CCA, no, kinukumpara natin yung mga companies, yung kanilang financial metrics, and para magkaroon tayo ng valuation, no? Malaman natin ano ba yung fair value ng company na yon at makapag-decide tayo which company to merge or to acquire. Of course, we have already discussed the DCF or discounted cash flow, wherein the DCF analysis assess the present value of a company's future cash flow, factoring in the time value of money. So, inaalam natin yung magiging future cash flow nung company, no? Ano ba yung magiging halaga nito in the present. And also, we have the asset-based valuation. This approach determines the value of a company based on its net assets, which include tangible assets like property and equipment, as well as intangible assets like patents and trademark. So, dito naman sa asset-based, no, we are trying to assess or evaluate the tangible assets and the intangible assets as well. So each valuation method has its advantages and limitation, and a combination of methods may provide a more accurate valuation. So kumbaga hindi lang pwedeng isa ang gamitin mo, no? Pwedeng itong DCF, tapos may asset base ka rin, or even the three, 'di ba? So that you can come up with a better decision. Deal structure and financing options. The structure of an M&A deal determines how the transaction will take place, including whether it will involve stock acquisition, asset acquisition, or merger of equals. So, kumbaga, no, sa deal structure and financing option, may involve no, even kung ano ba yung mga current stocks na meron sila and even assets, no, or ano ba yung pwede nilang emerge, no. So, ito yung mga deals na nangyayari sa merger and acquisition. Financing options such as cash payments, stock swaps, or mix of both play a significant role in shaping the terms and outcomes of the transaction. Kumbaga, no, hindi lang naman laging cash payments ang nangyayari in terms of the M&A, but also in terms of stock swaps, no? Pwede rin yun. Nagkakaroon sila ng swapping ng kanilang mga stocks. And pwede rin mix of both, na may cash payment na, may stock swaps pa. Considerations such as tax implication, regulatory requirements, and the strategic goals of acquiring company all influence the choice of deal structure and financing options. Due diligence in M&A. Due diligence is a comprehensive and meticulous process that examines the financial, operational, legal, and strategic aspects of the target company. It's essential for assessing risks, opportunities, and the overall financial health of the target company. So, pag sinabi natin due diligence, no, ito yung proseso kung saan tinitingnan natin lahat ng aspeto, from the financial, operational, legal, strategic, kung ito ba ay magiging maganda sa atin, ito ba ay magbibigay sa atin ng opportunity, ano ba yung mga risks involved pag we try to merge or acquire a company. During due diligence, potential hidden liabilities, legal issues, and operational challenges and other factors that could impact success of the transaction are uncovered. Thorough due diligence helps acquiring company make informed decision and mitigate potential risks. So dito na lumalabas, kunyari possible may mga utang pa pala sila, may mga legal constraints pala sila na kunyari wala silang mga legal requirements, and even operational challenges, maliit yung kanilang warehouse. So this could be some uncovering that may be discovered during the due diligence. Valuation in M&A, comparable company analysis. So comparable company analysis, or CCA, is a widely used valuation method that involves comparing financial ratios and metrics of the target company with those similar publicly traded companies. The idea is to identify companies in the same industry or sector with similar business models, growth, prospects, and the risk profile. So the advantage of CCA is relatively straightforward and easy to understand. Utilizes market data, making it responsive to current market conditions, and provide insights into how the target company valuation compare to its peers. On the other hand, the limitations requires accurate and relevant comparable companies, which might be challenging to find in some cases, and doesn't account for unique company-specific factors that might affect valuation. Now let's have the discounted cash flow analysis, or DCF. It is a method that estimates the present value of a company's future cash flow. It takes into consideration the time value of money, which means that the future cash flows are discounted back to their present value. Advantages: it incorporates future cash projection, providing a comprehensive view of the company's potential, and accounts for the time value of money, considering that a dollar today is worth more than a dollar in the future, and suitable for valuing companies with stable cash flow. But on the limitation, highly sensitive to the assumption made about the future cash flows, growth rate, discount rates, and more complex and requires careful considerations of variables. So next is asset-based valuation. Asset-based valuation assesses the value of a company based on its net assets. This method is particularly relevant for companies with significant tangible assets, such as real estate or machinery. Advantages: especially useful when a company's value is closely tied to its tangible assets, and provides a minimum value for the company, as assets are unlikely to be worth less than their book value. The limitation, on the other hand, is doesn't capture the full value of intangible assets like brand reputation or intellectual property, may not accurately reflect a company's true value if its assets are specialized or unique. So now let's proceed with the deal structure and financing options. So deal structure in M&A transaction can take various forms. each with its own implication for ownership, control, financial structure. So here are a few common deal structures. First is stock acquisition. In a stock acquisition, the acquiring company purchases the target company shares, gaining control of its asset, liabilities, and operations. On the other hand, we have assets acquisition. In an asset acquisition, the acquiring company buys specific assets and liabilities of the target company rather than its entire entity. This approach can allow the acquiring company to cherry-pick assets while avoiding unwanted liabilities. And the third is merger of equals. In this scenario, two companies are roughly equal size and strength come together to form a new combined entity. This type of merger aims to create a more powerful and competitive player in the market. So pag stock acquisition, nakafocus sila sa stocks, no? And pag asset acquisition, they are trying to cherry pick specific assets. Pwede silang mamili ano ba yung specific assets na bibili nila. And merger of equals, this is being done to combine the resources of the company and to become more powerful in the industry to gain market share. So let's proceed with the financing options. The method of financing in M&A transaction has significant implication for both parties involved. Here are some common financing options. First is cash payments. In cash transaction, the acquiring company pays the shareholder of the target company in cash. This provides immediate liquidity to the target shareholders. So dahil nga cash payments yung binabayad ay nagkakaroon ng liquidity, no, agad yung ating acquiring company. The next one is stock swaps rather. Stock swaps involve offering the shareholder of the target company shares in acquiring company instead of cash. This approach can be beneficial when the acquiring company's stocks is highly valued. So, imbes na pera ang ibayad, stocks ang binabayad. And we have the mixed payment. This option involves a combination of cash and stock. It allows the acquiring company to strike a balance between immediate payment and leveraging its own stock potential. Next is consideration for deal structure and financing. The choice of deal structure and financing option is influenced by a change of factors. First is strategic goals. The acquiring company's strategic objectives such as market expansion, synergies, or diversification play a significant role in determining the most suitable structure. Next is regulatory and tax considerations. Different deal structures can have varying tax implication and regulatory requirements. Financial position. The financial strength of the acquiring company rather, including its access to cash or its stock's value influences the financing approach. And of course, we have the shareholder approval. The preference and interest of both company shareholders are crucial in deciding the deal structure and payment method. Due diligence in M&A. So, due diligence is a comprehensive examination of the target company's financial, operational, legal, and strategic aspects. The rigorous process is vital for assessing risk, uncovering opportunities, and ensuring the success of the transaction. Number one is the role of due diligence. Due diligence is a thorough investigation and analysis conducted by the acquiring company to evaluate the target company's true financial and operational condition. It aims to provide a clear understanding of what the acquiring company is buying and potential risks involved. Areas for examination. During due diligence, various aspects of target company are meticulously scrutinized. First is the financial statements. The financial health and accuracy of the target company's financial statements are assessed to identify any discrepancies or irregularities. Next is operational performance. The efficiency, productivity, and overall operational performance of the target company are analyzed to identify areas for improvement. Another one here is rather legal matters. Any ongoing or potential legal issues, such as pending lawsuits or regulatory compliance concerns, are thoroughly reviewed. And of course, we have market and competitive analysis. The target company's position in the market, competitive landscape, and growth are evaluated. Next is uncovering hidden risk. One of the primary goals of due diligence is to uncover hidden risks and that might impact the success of the transaction. This risk could include undiscovered liabilities, identifying any hidden financial obligations or liabilities that could affect the acquiring company's finances post-acquisition. Also, we have the operational challenges, highlighting the operational inefficiencies, supply chain vulnerabilities, or other changes that may require immediate attention. Another one is reputation and brand risk, identifying potential issues that could harm the reputation of the acquiring company due to the target's actions or associations. And of course, you have the informed decision making. The information gathered during the due diligence empowers the acquiring company to make informed decision about the transaction. It provides a realistic view of the target company's strengths, weaknesses, and potential for growth, allowing the acquiring company to assess whether the deal aligns with their strategic goals. Kung yun ba ay makakatulong sa kanilang market expansion, yun ba ay magkakaroon ng enhancement sa kanilang synergy, no? Or it could uh, improve, no, their financial positions. So this could be some of the things na pwedeng mangyari sa informed decision making. Leverage buyouts or LBOs and hostile takeover. Leverage buyouts are defined as a strategy wherein an acquiring company uses a significant amount of debt, often funded by the target company's asset, to acquire it. The acquired company cash flow is then used to repay the debt over time. So, objectives of the LBOs are often undertaken to enhance shareholder value by improving operational efficiency, optimizing the capital structure, and implementing strategic changes. So, to cut the story short, class, no, yung leverage buyout is we're using the debt, no? Umutang tayo para mabili natin yung para ma-acquire natin yung company. Na sa ganon, ma-improve yung ating financial position. Kasi nga, from the keyword leverage, na ma-maximize natin yung gamit ng utang, and we could able to, use the new assets that they acquire once we get, no, the new company. So, what are the benefits? No? Operational improvements. Acquiring companies can implement operational changes to enhance efficiency, reduce costs, and increase profitability. Another one is capital structure optimization. By adjusting the target company's capital structure, LBOs aim to improve financial stability and reduce the overall risk. And management focus. LBOs can lead to increased management focus and accountability as they work to increase the company's value to meet debt repayment obligations. So dahil nga nangutang sila, nakafocus yung management kung paano pa palalaguin yung kumpanya. Next is hostile takeovers. Definition. Hostile takeovers involve attempts to acquire a company against its management's wishes. This often includes unsolicited bids and proxy battles to gain control. The objective is artificially driven by acquiring company's belief that it can better manage the target company or extract more value for shareholders. So what are the tactics of hostile takeovers? Number one is proxy fights. Acquiring companies may seek to replace the target company's board members with their own nominees to gain control and influence decision making. Another one is tender offers. Acquiring company directly approach the target company shareholders to purchase their shares bypassing management. And shareholder activism. leveraging the support of the target company shareholders to rally for the takeover bid, putting pressure on the current management. So next class is corporate restructuring and turnaround strategies. Corporate restructuring. It refers to the process of making fundamental changes to a company's operation, ownership, or structure in response to challenges or opportunities. Kumbaga class, sa corporate restructuring, from the keyword restructure, may binabago tayo dun sa operation, o kaya dun sa ownership, or sa overall structure para ma-address natin yung challenges or ma-maximize natin yung opportunities. So, what is the objective of this? The primary goals of corporate restructuring include improving operational efficiency, increasing shareholder value, and adapting to changing market condition. So, what are the reasons for corporate restructuring? First is financial distress. When a company faces financial challenges, restructuring can help address debt burdens and improve liquidity. Second one is underperformance. Companies that are not meeting their targets may restructure to enhance their efficiency and profitability. Another one is changing market conditions. Adapting to shifts in market dynamics and consumer preferences is a key reason for restructuring. And of course, fourth is merger and acquisition. Post-acquisition restructuring is often necessary to integrate operation and realize synergies. And the last one is turnaround strategies. So these are specific action implemented to reverse a company's decline and restore its financial health and competitiveness. So dito is reverse natin no yung company's decline para ma-restore natin daw yung financial health and competitiveness. So what are the components of turnaround strategies? First is operational restructuring. It involves optimizing processes, reducing costs, and enhancing productivity to improve overall efficiency. Another one is financial restructuring. It addresses debt issues and optimizes the company's capital structure to improve financial stability. And of course, we have the strategic restructuring, wherein it focuses on defining business focus, entering new markets, and realigning its core strategies. So, as you can see, no, pwedeng related sa operation, yung pagre-restructure, pwedeng financial, or pwedeng strategic. So, that's all, and thank you so much.